Are you excited?
I'm excited.
First podcast ever. First podcast
Maybe
ever.
we'll get like 10 listeners.
If we get 10 listeners this week, by next week we might have 12. That's
Or-
pretty exciting. Or
right?
just 10. If we can get 10 to come back, that's all that really matters.
Okay, I'm pretty far away from my mic, so.
I think that I'm pretty far away too, but I think that's
I
good
think
for me
that's okay for you.
because I'm loud.
Do I sound okay in there, producers? Yeah? Okay, perfect.
It's our first time, so bear with us. Don't
Okay.
laugh at us. Look at this sign. This is a really cool
Alright,
sign.
That's pretty.
I think I'm gonna have to put the M in front of the R though,
The M is in the front of the R.
or the R. in front of the M. Yes.
Okay.
All right. And here we go.
All right, welcome to M&R Production Fantasy Football Podcast, the first ever episode. You got myself, Michelle, and Ray, Lana, here with you guys. We are here to talk about everyone's fantasy needs, the excitement of fantasy football season when we're in week 5 now.
A lot of people have needs, some more than others actually at this point. So we'll see how it goes for them.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of injuries, so I mean that could you could have so much excitement going into the season and thinking. You know, you got ODB. Did I say that acronym right?
ODB. I'm not really good with
Odell
acronyms.
Beckham
That's the
Jr.,
one though.
OBJ.
Oh,
Second pick
OBD.
usually in the first 3, and I mean he's not really doing that great. But anyways, okay. So Ray, how many leagues are you in this year?
7.
7 leagues.
Yes.
Wow, that's quite the.
Almost all of them are on the same format, so I'm pretty happy about that. I only have one that's outside of the format, which is one Yahoo League, and the rest are ESPN. And
Yeah.
the scoring's kind of everywhere with it. I have different types of leagues that I'm in: double quarterback leagues, dynasty leagues, keeper leagues, you name it.
You're in a dynasty league.
I'm in a dynasty league.
Okay, because we had discussed that before. I think I don't remember you saying that you were in one.
I've been in the same dynasty league for many, many years.
I have selective hearing, so
Apparently.
I was just saying what I wanted.
I'm
to
glad
hear
that that's
and-
true because otherwise you might steal some of the players that I accidentally mentioned around you.
Right. Yeah, if I took them, they'd get hurt anyways. That's kind of my gimmick.
Or
for
they'll be a
fantasy.
bust, like, what's his name from Raiders? Antonio Brown?
Antonio Brown from the Raiders.
Oh,
Yeah. He's, when did that happen? Is that like
Amari
breaking
Cooper.
news?
Amari
okay.
Cooper.
Well, that's because freaking Michael Crabtree is coming out and taking all his targets and.
And that's why I picked up Michael Crabtree in that same draft.
Anyways, all right. So let's get to it here before Ray starts to go into my fantasy football team's demise too much. Because I'm in 4 leagues myself, and I'm doing great in 2 of them. So that's a 50% odds right there. I like those odds.
It's pretty good. It's a little easier when you get to do the auto draft. And, well, when we did the live draft, in your defense, you were on
was not
Skype.
there. I was being
So
yes.
it was a little difficult for you, but
And I'm going to use that excuse all season long. If I tank this season, that is my reason why for tanking.
so it will say Skyped draft on the Sacco trophy for her this season.
Oh, I won't get the Sacco. We all know who will get that.
Josh
No
is
matter
fighting real hard for that
No matter
one.
how
So
much how much I tank, I still won't get that.
that's right.
Okay, so let's get right into it. So we got a lot of good matchups coming on this week. We have the Chiefs on a bye, the Hawks on a bye, Jags and Saints both on byes. So if you have any of those players, you're going to be looking to substitute them with other players. Thursday. Tonight is the 6th, October 6th. So we have a game tonight with the Cards and the Niners. So
It's a clash of 2 horrible teams
yeah,
at this point.
both 1 and 3. So great Thursday night matchup we got coming up.
Yeah, they always select the good ones, that's for sure.
Right, yeah. And on short weeks, I mean, with 2 teams in a short week anyways, it's going to be a shit show.
Pretty much.
We can say whatever we want here. I mean,
That's right.
This is our podcast. Oh, and I forgot to mention we're coming from Bates
Technical College.
Our first ever podcast. So bear with us. We're in the advanced technology building, but we have the most advanced of technology with us right now.
We have no internet, essentially. Otherwise, we'd have some tablets or laptops or something like that.
We got paper, and I'm using a pencil, and got some notes jotted down. So we'll do our best with you guys here. Bear with us. As the weeks go on, we'll get better at this. But all right, Cards and Niners. Palmer, is he playing tonight?
Palmer is not playing tonight.
He's out.
He will be out. It's going to have a huge effect on the receivers in there. I don't see any really receiver, with the exception of maybe Larry Fitzgerald, actually performing well enough to be in your lineup at all, unless you're in like a 16-team league that's super deep. Then you could think about a John Brown or Michael Floyd or
and
something
who would you
like
have in an order of Cards wide receivers? How
Larry-
would you rank them?
Larry Fitzgerald, John Brown, Floyd.
Okay. And then Chris Johnson has been placed on IR, right?
Correct.
And he's out for possibly the rest of the season.
for the inevitable future.
So who's going to step up and fill his role behind David Johnson?
Well, I mean, in all honesty, they don't really need anybody. David Johnson's an every down back, and he's their workout horse. He increased his carries by about 30% last week, and he's still just trucking along. He not only runs the ball very well, but he can catch the ball out of the backfield too. His receptions have been down, but with a sub quarterback in, he's probably going to get a couple extra receptions because he's going to want to throw the short ball and check down to those
Stanton,
receivers.
Right?
Stanton.
So is he someone you might want to pick up on a flyer if you got a quarterback on a bye week?
I would probably not suggest that. Actually, in retrospect to that, I would actually suggest that maybe picking up the 49ers defense on a flyer might be a good option because he could be liable to throw a few interceptions. It could be kind of a sneaky pickup.
I think it's guaranteed at least one interception.
Oh, yeah,
in
for
there,
sure.
At least. And on both sides. I mean,
Yeah,
we
technically
got
you could,
Gabbert on the other side
yeah.
for the Niners.
Yeah, you could definitely make a case for either defense. Arizona's players on defense are probably better than the Niners, but without Carson Palmer, they're a completely one-dimensional team for the most part. Dave Johnson is going to get a lot of carries, and he's going to be a workhorse, but they're going to be able to put 8 men in the box to defend that. So we're going to see what he's really made of tonight.
Now, what about on the Niners side? Carlos Hyde? Is that really the only Niner player that you're willing to put in your starting lineup?
Absolutely. Carlos Hyde actually I think is going to do very well this week. Again, it's against a weaker defense with Arizona not playing, up to par so far this season. And Carlos Hyde has been running the ball very well. He's got 5 TDs. Both running backs in this game have 300 yards so far in the season. Quite a few carries apiece. And, yeah, Carlos Hyde's going to do well.
Yeah, I think that I don't have any players from either teams on any of my fantasy teams. So that's a game I'm kind of really only interested in because we're Seahawks fans and we're
NFC
in that
West.
division, so.
Yeah, I do have David Johnson in the league that we're both in, and I have Carlos Hyde in a couple different leagues as well.
All right, so just real quick, who do you think's winning? Who's taking the game? I got Niners.
I think that Arizona's going to win. I think it's going to be a close game, probably come down to a field goal, and I only see it being like 13-10. So I don't really see.
So not very exciting.
A major, yeah. It's not going to be it's not going to be a barn burner for sure.
All right, so next up we got the Texans and the Vikings. Vikings are 3-0.
Vikings are playing very well so far this season.
Or is it 4-0?
It's 4-0.
4-0. And the Texans are 3-1. So both teams playing pretty good.
Yeah, the Texans have been playing well. I see the Vikings definitely winning in this competition.
You were kind of yelling in my ear there, so it sounds a little bit better to me now.
I don't hear anything anymore.
Great job, producers. We got a couple producers back there, some fellow Bates students helping us out with this podcast, so we do appreciate that.
Yes, thanks Holly and Pedro for running our audio for us.
I think
we
they're
do
getting
appreciate
credit
it.
for their audio class, though, so
yeah,
they should be thanking us for getting them out of Roland's lectures.
Yes, the lectures are pretty bad in there, or they can be at least.
So Vikings are not with Adrian Peterson anymore. He's gone. He's no more. Maybe possibly the whole season.
As far as like the Vikings go in their running back situation between Jerick McKinnon and Asiata, it's kind of a difficult thing as far as fantasy owners go. You got Asiata, who's supposedly the starter, and he's going to be like the third down short yardage back. I think he had, 24 yards in a TD last week?
He's the red zone target guy.
Yeah.
So usually when they get in the red zone, they're giving him the ball. So he's a touchdown-dependent running back. It's
kind of like a couple years back when you had, your Matt Forte and who was their running back that was Carey or something that was taking it in on the goal lines.
For the Bears?
Yeah, it's kind of like a light version of that.
McKinnon's got the talent.
McKinnon does have the talent. He looks really good when he gets the ball, especially if he can break open into open space. And it's been a little bit difficult for him to do that, but he's when he does, he gets good yardage and he can break tackles, and he's definitely not Adrian Peterson. So if you pick up either one of these guys on your team, which I know I have on some teams, I know you have as well, these guys are not going to fill in Adrian Peterson's shoes. You cannot play two of them in one slot, and even if you do, they still won't.
You're looking at a flex option at best, and that's pretty if you're desperate and you got no one else, or you're playing in a deep league and your running backs are on a bye.
Yeah, you're looking at a low flex option for him. Definitely no running back 1, 2, or even 3.
What about Stephon Diggs? He's been pretty lights out so far, though.
Diggs has played really well. He's got a good connection with Bradford, and they've been hooking up pretty well. And Diggs is like, he's been the main target on the team. You know, you thought you'd have other people stepping up, but it's really Diggs' show, and he's I can dig it. He's doing it.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah,
Did you get in touch
absolutely.
with his people and be like, hey?
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
that'll
me and his
slow down
people,
for you.
we're already real close.
Oh, you're pretty tight.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Anyways, so Cordell Patterson though, what about him as a flyer, maybe a flex position if you need?
I'm not a big fan of Cordero Patterson. I think he's burnt me in the past as far as fantasy goes. He's got a lot of talent. I think he's like a Tyler Lockett style player. He's really good on special teams. He can run the ball back and break away for your team at any point. But as far as like a every down receiver, he's just not the guy as far as I'm concerned.
I feel like they've been trying to get him the ball more this
They
year.
have. I think Bradford, you know, having a different quarterback in there with that doesn't have any negative things or positive things for each receiver, just wants to give the ball to whoever's open, which
Right.
I think is a big deal for that.
Which is why Kyle Rudolph comes in and is pretty handy. If you need to, I mean, if Kyle Rudolph is still out there in your league, which he shouldn't be, but he could be in some leagues, pick him up. I mean, he's one of the top 5 tight ends so far this year.
Yeah, Rudolph is a big man. He's got a big body. He played basketball in college. He's basically like an Antonio Gates style receiver, and if they're giving him the ball, he's a huge red zone target, and I think that could be pay off for you big time if you can get him. I actually drafted him in the very last round of our draft, and I had to drop him for other players because he only scored me, I think, 4 points in the first week. So
you got a little antsy.
yeah, a little antsy. Not a good move.
Well, I mean, he had who did they have? Sean Hill thrown to him in that first
Exactly.
week. So
They were having some rough times for a moment, but
I mean, yeah. Looking at the Viking season, it was looking pretty grim. So
Exactly.
it's kind of hard to tell.
exactly.
And I wish I could, if we had excellent service in our advanced technology building here, I would pull up my phone and try to get some stats on how many touchdowns Rudolph has had in the last 2 weeks, because I'm pretty sure it's up there. Let's do the name game real quick. Let's steal some ideas from the other podcasts that are out there and
All
do
right.
Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph or Gronk,
Gronk with Brady coming back, no question.
even though he's been very slow out the gates the last 2
No
weeks.
question with Brady coming back. He's one of his favorite targets. He's going to get 50% of the receptions.
Okay, Kyle Rudolph or Gary Barnidge.
I'm going Rudolph for sure. I actually have Barnridge, and I should have kept Rudolph. So
Oh, that's who you dropped him for.
Exactly.
Okay, bad move. So this is the guy you're going to be trying to take fantasy advice from.
4-0, by the way, in our league. So
Okay, Kyle Rudolph or Delaney Walker.
that's a tough one. I'd probably say Kyle Rudolph as well. Walker started pretty strong, but I don't know that he's going to keep the momentum. And Rudolph is just getting better. So
Kyle Rudolph or Zach Ertz.
Kyle Rudolph.
Kyle Rudolph or Tyler Eifert.
Oh, Rudolph. Eifert's hurt, so
Eifert's coming back this week, though.
yeah, he's going to come back. He'll be subpar this week. I don't think.
All
I wouldn't
right.
start him if it was me.
Okay, so pretty much Kyle Rudolph over anyone but Gronk, kind of.
No,
Alright.
I'd probably take like Kelsey or well, not this week, but in the future, Jimmy Graham over him.
That's right, Jimmy Graham. He's on a bye week this week, so if you're looking for someone to replace him,
He's actually available in a lot of leagues. I picked him up off waiver wires, and because nobody had any faith coming off of the microfracture surgery, so he's coming back. In the last 2 weeks, he's been lights out, and well, Wilson's finding him the ball, so
yeah, and having
it's pretty
trust in him.
amazing.
All right, so what about on the other side, the Texans? You got Lamar Miller.
Lamar Miller.
I was not a fan of much coming into the season.
I've never really been a big fan of Lamar Miller. He's kind of a make or break player. He's getting the ball a ridiculous amount of times. He's a big workhorse for Texas, but it's still the same Lamar Miller. You know, he's either taking it for 1 yard or taking it for 80 yards. So it's kind of a boomer bust type of player. I actually just traded him for Jimmy Graham in my league. I don't really foresee. I mean, he's going to put up numbers. He's going to be pretty consistent just because they give him the rock so much. But overall, I don't really foresee him being a bell cow like any of the major, like a David Johnson. David Johnson's going to outscore him by a great deal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he just burned me when he was with Miami 1 year in fantasy, so I've just never have had faith in him ever since.
He's
then.
been very highly rated coming into many, many seasons, especially with Miami. And with Miami, again, that was a boomer bust. He was either getting you 2 points for the week or he's getting you 20 points for the week. And it's pretty hard to say overall exactly what you're going to get out of him on a day-to-day basis. I prefer players that are going to give me a consistent amount of points so I can count on my 10, 12, 15, or 20 points depending on who the player is. So that 1 week I don't score 60 and the next week 100.
So Texans also have two pretty good wide receivers, DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller.
Yes.
So out of the two, which one, if you had to pick, which one to start this week? Who
Oh,
would you start?
I'd pick
Or
Hopkins.
If either, because
I
going
wouldn't.
against
I
the
wouldn't
Vikings.
start either one unless you don't have very many viable options. The Vikings D is very tough, but DeAndre Hopkins is an amazing athlete, and he has the ability to break out on any play, and he can, he can have you 0 points going into the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, and you can end the game with 20 points with him. I mean, he's just an amazing wide receiver, one of the most physically talented in the league.
He was someone that I targeted tried to get in all my leagues this year.
He
got him in like 2 of them.
He was definitely on my watch list in every league, but I needed other things before him. I ended up with no DeAndre Hopkins. I had him last year in multiple leagues, because I was fortunate enough to get him in the second and third and fourth rounds.
I think he was still kind of underrated last year.
He was totally underrated last year.
Easier to pick up than this year. People had their eye on him.
Yeah, and this year he comes in as a top 5 receiver.
So what about quarterbacks? Would you start Osweiler or Bradford?
Bradford seems kind of viable. I don't think I would really want to take Osweiler. Hasn't really proven anything to me for the most part.
$72 million man.
I mean, other than he has a lot of money, he's proven that to me. He's proven to me that he can negotiate well, or he can hire the right people to negotiate on his behalf, which is an important trait for these athletes as well. He made a big decision by moving out of Denver. If he were to stay with Denver, he probably would have been a viable fantasy quarterback every week, just because their offense is very well rounded, and he would be able to get away some passes with some great receivers out there.
Yeah, that was a surprising move that he left. I think he just didn't want to be in Peyton Manning's shadow.
Honestly, if I were him, I would have left too, because John Elway would have got on my nerves.
Well, I know how you feel about Elway. I don't think our listeners, our viewers know.
I despise Elway, just for the record.
Yeah, so.
Not because of his talent on the field, just because of his horse-faced look and the fact that he went to Stanford and beat up on the Huskies.
Very shallow of you.
Well, it is what it is.
Very,
I
very
get it from my
shallow.
mother. I can't help it. It's a genealogy
I hope
thing.
your mother isn't listening. Would your mother be listening? Is she a fantasy?
Yeah, she would totally listen.
Does she play fantasy?
She doesn't play fantasy football, but she just likes to hear my voice.
Does she play fantasy baseball?
No, she probably should though. She's really into baseball. They just booked spring training. They're ready to go.
Nice. I think I'm gonna go again this year too.
Yeah, I might have to make it down there.
All right, so Bears and Colts, another exciting battle against the 1-3 teams.
Yes, that's going to be another great one. I see some actual good fantasy predictions coming for this game though. Jordan Howard looks like a really good running back coming into this game. Well, the Colts defense is subpar as far as the overall. They're ranked 29th in the league against the run, so I think that he's going to have a big game. He's kind of one of my sleepers for the week. A lot of people picked him up,
When
because
Langford got hurt.
Yeah, because Langford went down, and Langford wasn't really doing much before he went down. He was touchdown dependent.
I have him in a lot of my leagues, and he hasn't done shit for me.
Yeah, that's a pretty hard thing to do. But in his first week as starter, was 23 attempts, 111 yards, 13 fantasy points. It's pretty solid. If he were to get a touchdown in there, I mean, you're talking about a 20-point guy. He was picked up off of waivers. He was pretty much the first guy to go off of waivers last week, and very well should have.
Coming into the season, the Bears were really high on him too. I mean, Langford was named their starter, but they really liked Howard. So.
Yeah, they've been talking about it, and then in the preseason, he got a lot of carries, and showed that he can run the ball. And I think going forward, I don't see Jeremy Langford really getting his position back as the starting running back workhorse for the team, because Howard is really good. So if you have Howard, I would definitely start him.
I have him.
He's a low end RB1 this week. So
not in our league, because I don't know how someone got him ahead of me, because I suck in that league right now, and I could have the first waiver wire pick every week.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I didn't get him, but I don't need him. I couldn't drop anybody on my team.
Blah. All I hear is blah 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 blah.
That's what losers hear.
Okay, so anyone else on the Bears? I mean, Kevin White's hurt, right?
I don't really see anybody else on the Bears being
Zach Miller, tight ends.
Not really.
Hoyer seems to maybe kind of go his way.
I mean, I could see him getting, like maybe 5 catches and like maybe 50 or 60 yards, maybe a touchdown. But I just really see this game just kind of being blah, with the exception of maybe Andrew Luck somehow doing something big towards the end of the game. Like he's been doing all season long. He's been like
He's the
basically
fourth quarter
sleeping,
king.
and he's been fourth quarter comeback in it big time.
I mean, they still lose, but
you look at your fantasy stats on him. I have him in one league, and he's got 6 points going into the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden he ends with 35,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, thank you, Andrew Luck. You know,
Yeah.
he's sitting as the sixth ranked quarterback in the league so far, averaging
don't-
19.5 points a game.
I don't know how long that's going to hold up, though. I mean, that offensive line is just terrible.
You know, fortunately for Luck, he's a very tough guy. He's smart and tough, but he's not going to be smart very long. He keeps taking those shots to the head. He's not even his beard can save him.
It's a pretty ugly beard, though.
Yeah, it's kind of like
I mean,
mine, a little scruffy and
I
ugly.
wonder if- yeah, we'd have to maybe get our viewers to do a
Luck is in the air.
yeah, like a commercial, right? He's good at those commercials.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's a good quarterback to have. I mean, you got to have faith. He gets the points. He's a comeback king, but it's definitely getting scary. I own him in one league, and the league I own him in is our Rainier's league, and it's a very quarterback-driven league too. Your quarterbacks can get. I mean, Matt Ryan got me 66 points last week on the bench.
Yeah,
66
I
points.
had Russell Wilson on my bench too because he's coming off some injuries.
I still won though, so.
Yeah, it happens. I think I won too. Yeah, I definitely won. I won
Well,
every
that
league. I
matters.
won every league last week.
I think I won all but one. That was our other league. But
The one where you played me in, is that the one? Oh, okay,
That's pretty bad.
that's a 63-point deficit.
So, T.Y. Hilton, Philip Dorsett, Frank Gore. I mean, Frank Gore, he is the workhorse.
Yeah, Gore looks all right this season. I think he's questionable coming into this week, so I'm not sure exactly what the injury is, but
He's old, though. I mean, he's probably questionable.
he is pretty old.
every
He
week.
probably just needed a day off of practice, so
Mm-hmm.
they get to mark him as questionable at that point. But the wide receiver situation, you never know who's going to get the ball over there. That's the kind of scary thing.
I think if you're
T.Y.
gonna-
Hilton is probably your best bet
Yeah.
out of all of them.
Once Dante Moncrief went down, I picked up Philip Dorsett in a couple leagues thinking, cool, all right, I need someone who'll come through, and he hasn't. He got a touchdown last week, though, so, I mean.
A lot of times with your wide receivers, you're going to find that, you're going to live and die by that touchdown. They might only get 2 or 3 catches for 40 yards or something like that, but if they get the touchdown, now they're going to be a fantasy standout at that point. But in all honesty, you never know.
Yeah, I think that Andrew Luck is if he has a good week this week against the Bears, he's a sell high option. Try to get rid of him. Try to go to someone else and get something better for him because that offensive line just scares me.
I could see that happening too, but I honestly, if I was shopping a quarterback, that would not be a quarterback I was shopping. So
If you
I
have
would.
someone stupid in your league, then
That-
aim for that person. Look who he has. He might be willing to
It's
get rid
true.
of.
It's true. And that's something that you should analyze with the people that are in your league, so you can figure out who's going to be the ones to make a trade with. But then most leagues have vetoes by the rest of the league, so you can actually get in the middle and take off, deny a trade. 'Cause sometimes
Oh,
it's just
the-
ridiculous.
Yeah, the commish has
Oh.
final say.
Well, the commission, it's actually in
Or
our
you
league,
could
it's
do
a
a vote,
voting system.
yeah.
Yeah, if you get 3 people that say no.
I never
I-
had a chance
think-
to vote on that last trade that went down.
Well, you didn't even notice it went down until it went down.
Until it went, yeah. So I want to veto that now, actually.
No.
I feel very left out. I'm the only girl. Wait, no, I'm not the only girl in the league this year, huh? Isn't there another
No,
girl?
there's 2 girls in the league.
Yeah.
Janine and you. And Janine has a pretty solid team. She's the 3rd highest scoring
I don't want to
in
talk
our
about
league.
it. Anyways, next week.
Jordy Nelson, Aaron Rodgers. She's got that team.
Yeah, that's a pretty good combo to have
Yeah.
right there. I was pretty high on Jordy Nelson coming in, though, and you were kind of like, nah.
Well, I just didn't want to. Not that I'm not high on these guys that you're really high on. It's just that where they're being picked at, it's just not where I'm going to pick them. And I think for me, I think value in your picks is more important
Right.
than anything. Like if you can get a top 5 receiver in the 2nd round, you're probably doing okay with that. But
I mean,
if-
yeah, it all goes into how your league has their scoring set up, and
Exactly.
people pay attention to that kind of thing, though, too. Like, a lot of people just think running back. I'm going to go running back in the first round. But
I was open to it this season, and usually I'm a solid running back guy. Like I want back-to-back running backs, but I've been burnt by picking up those top end. Like Jamal Charles was a keeper in my league last year, went down in
Todd
game 3.
Gurley, I mean, he's
Gurley was not on my radar.
he was in most leagues, he was the number 1 overall drafted running back.
Yeah, I could see in a dynasty league, but I'd pick Ezekiel Elliott over Todd Gurley, personally.
Now, but going back to the start.
Going
of the
back to the
season.
start of the season, I'd still do that.
I wish I could have recordings of conversations where you were not high on Ezekiel Elliott. Anyways, okay.
We'll have them from here
Yeah,
on out.
Jets versus Steelers. That could be a very interesting game.
Jets Steelers is a big game. There's going to be a lot of fantasy players that are going to be viable in that game. Is it in Pittsburgh?
It's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think that the Steelers are going to put up some numbers in this game. They put up huge
I mean,
numbers
I hope
last
that
week.
my paper is giving me the correct information that it's in Pittsburgh, but
Yeah.
it is a piece of paper. So
I think they are in Pittsburgh too. I think that that's going to be a pretty big deal for them. The Steelers got back Le'Veon Bell, who put up good numbers last week. I think he had 140 yards rushing and somewhere in that
yeah,
range.
if you had him sitting on your bench and you were saving him, I mean, that was a good.
Yeah, it's time to dump D'Angelo. Just pray that Le'Veon
Or
doesn't
try
get
to
hurt.
trade him. There could be someone out
Yeah,
there.
somebody
that would
might
be
go
willing to
based off
trade
of their
him.
ranking because I think
'Cause
he's
he's
like
still
the
gonna be viable.
eighth ranked running back.
He's still gonna get touches, and he could get.
But not really when it counts. I don't think personally. Le'Veon Bell is a workhorse. He's a great player. He was going in the top 2 rounds, and at the top 2 rounds for a guy that's gonna sit out for 4 weeks, it's pretty tough to go.
All
with,
right,
so.
let's do name game.
Okay,
D'Angelo Williams, Cameron Artis-Payne.
D'Angelo Williams,
Okay. D'Angelo Williams, Howard.
Howard,
Okay, D'Angelo Williams, McKinnon.
McKinnon. He's gonna get more touches.
D'Angelo Williams, Christine Michael.
Christine Michael, hands down.
Okay, all right.
It's not just because I'm a Seahawks fan. Christine Michael is putting up numbers
He's
this
looking
year.
good. He's
Absolutely.
looking really, really good. And everyone targeted Thomas Rawls, and Christine Michael was not drafted in almost all leagues.
Yeah,
So
and you watch C.J. Spiller's going to come in and get some touches too.
he
And he's
already
going
got a touchdown.
to touchdown on a pass. But that's where I see him being used too.
Yeah.
He's gonna get some passes. If you're in PPR, watch out for that guy. He might actually put up some numbers for you.
Definitely. I definitely think that D'Angelo Williams still has a place on teams, especially if you're kind of desperate. And I mean, running back injuries have been pretty.
If you're in a 12-team league and you see him on the waiver wire, you can't just leave him there. You got to pick him up.
D'Angelo Williams, Ryan Matthews.
Man, that's a tough one because Ryan Matthews and splitting carries with Sproles, but Matthews, when he comes back, he's still going to be pretty much the workhorse.
But he gets hurt every time.
I'm going Matthews.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Anyone else on Sammy Coates? It's kind of been making a big deal, a big splash, a deep threat for the Steelers.
I don't really see. I mean, that's kind of
Deep league,
Ben's
16-team league.
Ben's done that with a lot of players. He's made them look really good for 1 week and then kind of let them fall off. You got your normal targets. You got Le'Veon Bell. You got Ben Roethlisberger and
Antonio Brown. That goes
Antonio
without
Brown.
saying.
Obviously, I don't even really need to mention him
Yeah.
because he's a stud and he'll do his thing. But otherwise, I don't really see too many people from the Steelers doing much. As far as the Jets go, you got Brandon Marshall, who's going to get touches. I mean, Decker's out, so
Is he out for the whole season?
no, they don't know at this point. They haven't released the
They're being
information,
very
but he might.
secretive
They said
about
They said it's something to do with his rotator, and if it's his rotator cuff, he's going to have surgery, and that's not an easy surgery. He'll be out for a long time.
I don't think he's going to be back this season.
But Decker was a
personally.
touchdown machine, and
Yeah.
now Brandon Marshall's a stud in the league. He's going to get 15 to 20, targets each week. I mean, the guy is going to go off. He's not going to have to face a Richard Sherman every week either.
Man, I wish I don't have the name of that one wide receiver the Jets have. It's weird. I think it starts with an O or something.
Imanu, or
Yeah, he was looking good though.
yeah, he's going to be their secondary receiver. He's a big guy. He's a lot like a Brandon Marshall, not quite as fast, probably not as good at hands either, but he's going to be their second guy.
He seemed to be someone that they really liked.
It takes a lot of time for a quarterback to develop trust in the receiver to get that red zone target, guy. Like Eric Decker, man, that guy, I have him in a couple leagues, and I'm really disappointed to see him go down, and hopefully he's not out for the season.
I think he is.
Whatever, Michelle.
If we had a board, I'd be like, let's make a board bet.
We should make a board, and we can
should.
put board bets, and we can
That's a
call
good
each other out on things. That'll be great.
Pilot episode, guys. Remember, it's in the works.
Yes,
You should have seen what it took to put this together.
a lot.
A lot of teamwork.
That's right.
Anybody else from the Jets? Matt Forte. He looked awesome the first 2 weeks.
Forte's, I don't know. I'm not really big on him, but
If you could pick up Bill Powell, pick him up.
I think they're just going to be splitting. I don't really see either one of them being a standout. But I mean, if you need somebody off the waivers wires and he's available, then yeah, I'd put him on your team as a low end flex. But I don't really see him, either one of them, Powell or him, being a standout, running back for the season. They're not going to win you your league. They might help you in a bye week though. So if you got somebody out, you got Mark Ingram out or something like that, and you need to fill a spot, then they might be a good person to go with.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Matt Forte, but he's over 30. He definitely can't keep up this pace all season.
And the thing about Matt Forte is he's overvalued by a lot of people. People remember Matt Forte of old, and if you had Matt Forte and another older running back like Arian Foster and Frank Gore, if you had those three running backs 4 years ago, you'd win your league. But this year, not so much.
Yeah. All right. Well, who do you think is going to win that game? This Jets said our game against the Seahawks were a do or die. I mean, they had to win it and they lost. So this game going to a desperate team. You can't really underestimate them too much. Steelers?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a pretty. I think it's probably Steelers by about 10.
I mean, we don't even really have to bring up Fitzpatrick. He's thrown 9 interceptions in the last 8 quarters played. So.
He's been awful.
Do they bench him? Bring in Geno at any
point?
They
don't bench him. He's a streaky player and. He for some reason forgets that he threw an interception the very last play and throws it back towards the same spot again.
Yeah, that's
They're going to become a lot more predictable though, because with just Brandon Marshall and without Eric Decker, it's going to be a little bit easier for defenses to key on Marshall. But Marshall's a big bad man, and he's still going to get his numbers no matter what.
And hopefully he stays healthy because he had a little leg problem.
I like that. I like that. Something on the lower body. Yeah, I get it.
Lower extremities somewhere.
Yeah, he's been injured. He's been hurt before, but I mean, he's had some bad quarterbacks, and he's still performed really well.
Yeah,
so
Jay Cutler
twice. I mean, that's pretty bad.
Okay, so Titans and Dolphins. Wow, another exciting 1-3 matchup. I don't have a lot of interest in this game. The Dolphins have just looked terrible. I don't even know how they have one win, honestly. I don't even know how they managed to get that.
Dolphins have looked terrible. Titans have had glimmers of hope, and then they've faltered. This is going to be a dirty, slow, low-paced game. I don't really see any major things except running back play.
DeMarco Murray, really the only
DeMarco Murray is gonna go off in this thing, but I don't really see any other fantasy options in there. Maybe a Titans defense. The Dolphins haven't really showed a lot, so.
Or what is this? Jarvis Landry. I mean, if you picked him, you
big
probably picked him
big
pretty
play
high,
option.
so
yeah,
you're probably gonna be starting him, just because you wasted a top spot on
he's
him.
been putting up pretty good numbers for the season.
Especially if you're in a PPR league, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets the touches. He might not always get the yards, but he's always getting targets and touches.
Tannehill's bad, but he's not that bad. I mean, he's still putting up numbers. He's still throwing the ball around. He's still averaging quite a few yards. So I mean, people are going to get targets, and Landry's the guy that's streaking down the sidelines, and could even get you a touchdown out of the deal. So
I mean, and if you're really desperate for a wide receiver this year, go for Kenny Stills. He could get the 180-yard bomb touchdown and good to go.
Yeah, that's kind of his MO.
Yeah.
So even when he was with the Saints, it was the same kind of thing. Make or break by a big touchdown, big play.
Yep. I'd stay away from anyone else on either of those teams. I'd stay away from both quarterbacks. I really think it's Jarvis Landry and DeMarco Murray, and that's about it. That's all you really got.
Yeah, Mariota's not the guy either, so.
All right, so moving on. Lions and Eagles.
This is going to be a huge game for any Eagles. The Lions' defense is sorry this year. And
they're kind of just sorry in general.
Well, this is a division matchup, too.
With their new offensive coordinator, everyone loves his name, Jim Bob Cooter. Coming in, and he's going to sprinkle his Cooter magic.
Cooter magic. That's an interesting statement just in itself. Cooter magic.
And everyone thought,
sounds like an infomercial late at night.
That's a fun. I wonder how much he got picked on with that name as a kid.
I have no idea, but I would have picked on him for sure. Not that I'm a bully.
You are totally a bully.
No, only
he picks on me all the time. All the time.
Not true, people. Not true.
It makes me cry. He's a big old meanie.
Oh, jeez. Death threats coming my way.
All right, so Golden Tate. Coming into the season, I thought he's going to be great. Megatron's gone. We saw what he did.
That's the
Seattle,
problem. That's the problem.
Right? So is he being aimed as like the number one wide receiver?
He is absolutely, and he's now facing against the number one DBs, and
Marvin Jones is doing great though.
Yeah, Marvin Jones is a stud right now. I think he's one of the. I think he's
he is the top.
One of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah,
He's kind of been overshadowed all these years, and he's just now.
AJ.
Yeah.
With the Bengals.
It's hard to take targets away from AJ Green, but now he's tearing it up. And Stafford, he's got an arm on him. He can throw the ball. There's no doubt about that. Sometimes with the wrong team, but he can definitely throw the ball hard. And Marvin Jones is an animal. This guy he's going to get you at least 5 receptions and close to 100 yards each week. Sprinkle in a little Cooter TD in there, and it'll be good to go.
Cooter TD. What about tight ends? Eric Ebron? I mean, do you have any faith in him?
Ebron's pretty good. I could see him getting some catches and possibly a touchdown, but I think he's banged up this week too, going into this week.
Banged
So
up all season. Really.
yeah, when he's healthy, he's gonna be pretty good overall. But he's been doing pretty well without being healthy. So I think his ceiling's pretty high. His floors at this point is not too low that you couldn't use him as if you don't have another tight end. I've started him in place of Gary Barnridge on a couple leagues and have done okay.
Yeah. Now I think the Eagles have are ahead in this matchup just because the Lions defense, like you said, is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Eagles defense has been proven to be a lot better than people thought it was going to be.
Eagles are the biggest surprise of the year for most people
People thought
out
they were
there.
just throwing the season away.
Yeah, with Carson Wentz, he's a young quarterback. I think that he's going to be one of those guys that if you can find him on your bench and you got your main quarterback or even you're starting a quarterback that has underperformed for you, like an Andy Dalton or a Joe Flacco or something like that, you can go ahead and pick up a Carson Wentz and put him in this week. He's going to be the guy, man.
I put him in this week.
I would have if I had the option. He definitely Detroit's 31st against the pass defense. Carson Wentz is averaging 18 points per game so far, and that's against other defenses that are more viable. They're going to run away with this game. It's going to be pretty disgusting. And Darren Sproles on that note too is going to catch some balls and break some tackles.
Is Ryan Matthews is hurt?
Ryan Matthews is questionable coming into the week. They don't know for sure if he's going to be playing yet. The outlook looks like he's going to be okay game time, but I think they're going to probably limit his snaps, and then you're going to see a lot more of Darren Sproles.
Even if Matthews is playing, Sproles is still a viable option, especially in
Sproles
PPR
is
leagues.
always a viable option, especially in PPR leagues. And on that note too, Theo Riddick on the other side of the ball, he is another guy that if you PPR league, he's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
He's catching balls out of the backfield and running, and he's pretty dang good. Those two running backs are probably, in my opinion, some of the better PPR running backs in the league.
Yeah, Sproles definitely, man. He just seems like the ageless wonder too, and so small and just sneaks right by the defenses.
Yeah, he's got hands on him. He's got hands of a wide receiver and a body of a running back, and the guy he's been consistent for so many years. And he's so underrated too. Every year going in, but I don't know exactly how old he is, but I'm guessing like at least 32 years old.
Somewhere around that 30 range.
And they say 30 years old is the cutoff for most of your running backs. This guy's been doing it forever.
They say that, but Sproles, you got Forte, you got D'Angelo Williams, you got all these guys. Adrian Peterson proving them wrong. I wish Marshawn would have.
Well, did Adrian really prove him wrong?
He did good last year.
I know. I'm just mocking his injury.
So we both.
Not that I think it's okay. That
Jordan
injured.
Matthews.
Matthews could make a grab. I mean, the thing about it is Wentz is not particular to any one receiver. So you can see any of those receivers out there catching the ball. I mean, even Aguilar caught a touchdown too. So
a lot of balls though too.
yeah, but I'm just saying that if you're open, he's going to throw the ball to you. Wentz is young. He's playing well. He's 4-0. The Eagles are 4-0. Eagles are looking like a very good team this
Eagles
season.
Eagles are 3-0.
Oh, 3-0. I'm sorry, I forgot the bye week last week. They might as well be
Have to use
4-0
a
coming into
fancy
this
computer
matchup.
To get that stat, I knew that one.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be 4-0 after this week.
And
It's
then
gonna
Zach
be a blowout.
Ertz is supposed to be coming back too.
Yeah,
so-
Ertz again. With the young quarterback, it's gonna be just whoever's open. So if they could run their route, get themselves open, call the right plays and the right defense against the right defenses, they'll be good to go.
All right, yeah, I got Wentz and Matthews in a couple of my leagues, so
Yeah.
hoping for a good performance from the Eagles. All right, so Patriots and Browns. Angry Tom Brady. Everyone loves to see an angry Tom Brady, right?
I heard he's happy actually.
He's happy because he's
Yeah,
back, but
he's
he's
happy 'cause
angry
he's
at
back.
the league.
Well, that's okay. Apparently, the Patriots don't need Tom Brady. He must not be that good. I'm
Needed
just
him
kidding,
last
people.
week.
Tom Brady is going to come back and absolutely, they're going to eat the Browns for dinner. It's
Yeah.
going to be a disgusting
And
game.
breakfast and lunch and
They might.
snack in between.
No, they're just going to completely destroy them real early, and they're just going to keep doing it. They're not going to let off the
And then
gas
they're gonna,
pedal.
like, ship
This is
them
going to
out.
be a huge game for anybody, any Patriots player that you have, you name it. LeGarrette Blount, Amendola.
Gronk.
Of course, Gronk.
I brought that
Martellus
up.
Bennett is also going to do it.
I think he's going to have a major
and then
upside with
Tom
back.
Brady too. I mean, I could see Brady early in the game maybe throwing an interception or something, but that's going to
I
be
can't.
short-lived. He's going to be on point because he hasn't been supposed to be practicing with his team, but I'm
Been
guaranteeing he
practicing
has.
with Wes Welker though.
Yeah.
He called him up, said, "Hey, get down here. I'm gonna throw some balls to you."
Maybe we can see Welker coming off the waiver wires when he comes back to the Patriots here shortly.
So I have Tom Brady. I'm excited about that. It's gonna turn my whole season around, and I'm gonna win from here on out.
Oh,
All because of Tom Brady.
yeah.
Free Tom
yes,
Brady.
you are. Deflate gate. Ban him.
So we like every single Patriot. So pretty much, if you have a Patriot, you're starting them.
Yes.
Absolutely. Even their defenses look pretty good.
Browns,
So
like you have very few Browns out there that you can really
Isaiah
viably start.
Crowell.
Crowell is a guy I would start if you don't have a better option, of course. Crowell's averaging really well. He's a 4th ranked running back through this week.
you know what? I really like Terrell Pryor. I really do.
Pryor's kind of a
actually,
jack
you
of
know?
all trades, man. The guy can do
So,
anything. So
I have him starting in my league. Actually, as of right now, I think I mentioned to you earlier, over Odell. I'm kind of tossing up what I should do. Odell's just been pissing me off lately. So
yeah, I don't care how bad he pisses you off. I would not do that. But that's just I'm not playing you this week, so I can actually
it
give
doesn't
you a
matter.
little bit of
Only
advice. But
if I don't start him, then he's gonna do great. If
Or-
I start him, then he's gonna do terrible.
If
That's
you
just-
start
that's
him,
my
he'll
luck
be
in
injured.
fantasy.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
so
true.
it doesn't really. Whatever I do is the opposite. So did you hear that, guys? Whatever I tell you to do is do the opposite of it because
it's probably a good idea,
it's
actually.
probably a great idea. I wish I
Probably.
could do the opposite of what I say, but then it wouldn't work out that way. It would still just kick me in the ass, anyways.
Damn
I
if
like
you
Terrell
do.
Pryor though. I really do. I really think he, and especially since Josh Gordon isn't going to be coming back.
I see him as just a flex play personally. I don't really anticipate him doing much. Although, you've obviously been paying more attention to Terrell Pryor than I have
I had
because
to
I don't
in one
own
of my
Terrell
leagues.
Pryor.
I had to.
I see him as a low end flex. I
He's-
definitely don't see putting him in over a quality receiver such as an Odell Beckham.
I just see the game getting out of hand really fast, and even garbage points. I am the biggest fan of garbage points there ever
All right,
was.
all
I
right.
think he's gonna have great garbage points.
All right,
there.
Antonio Brown or Terrell Pryor.
Oh, and Antonio Brown all day, all
Okay.
day long.
How about Steve Smith Sr.? Oh, and
I think I would pick Terrell Pryor over Steve Smith.
how about
I'm not sold on the Ravens. I know a lot of people think I got off to a hot start, but for some reason I have a bad feeling about that.
how about
offense.
Amendola?
Danny Amendola? Oh, that's the one Patriot I wouldn't start. So Terrell Pryor over Amendola, absolutely.
You have Matthews already, right?
I
You're
have
starting
Matthews,
him.
and I'm starting him. I'm in this league is like a 3 wide
Would you
receiver,
over Larry
1 running
Fitzgerald?
back, 2 flexes.
How about Larry Fitzgerald?
No, the Cardinals are playing the Niners, and Fitzgerald eats the Niners up every single time they play him. So
But
I'm
with the
going
backup
Fitz.
quarterback,
Doesn't matter. It's Fitzgerald. He'll catch anything.
but
so.
you're gonna start him over ODB.
I haven't decided yet, but as of right now, that's where it is. Right now.
OBJ,
I
whatever.
Yeah, whatever. The acronyms
Yeah,
are not good with
Old
them.
dirty bastard or whatever.
I think he's a good start, especially if you're desperate.
Well, you heard it. Michelle says start him, but she
So-
also says don't do anything she says.
So that means
just
sit him.
we'll figure it out from here.
Okay, so Patriots are going to win that game. Everyone knows that. Browns are going to go to 0-5, and
Yep.
woe is me for any
Browns are on their way to
out there.
getting a first round draft pick quarterback, which never works
Which
out.
they'll trade away anyways, and they won't take them because they're going to stack their picks. God knows what.
That's right.
They just want to be
That's
shitty
right.
for the
Give
rest
us
of
Joe
their-
Thomas.
Oh, okay. So Redskins and Ravens. Just talking about the Ravens, I'm not sold on this Ravens team. They've had a hot start, but I don't think it's going to continue. They just cut Justin Forsett, so they're running with Terrence West. But I think I told you before, I think that Dixon is going to take that job later in the season. But
Nonetheless,
this week, you start Terrence West.
Terrence West is one of the best pickups you can get in any fantasy league if he's available. I think I saw this morning he was available in like 33% of all ESPN.com leagues, which is unheard of. This guy is the starting back and workhorse. He's not sharing snaps. He's the starting running back. This guy is going to make or break your fantasy team. This is one of the reasons I felt comfortable getting rid of Lamar Miller for Jimmy Graham in one of my leagues because I had him and another decent starting running back on the bench.
And I also say start him too, but because Ray said start him, then it's okay. You don't have to sit him just because I said start him. So just to make that clear,
Yeah, if
If
we
Ray
both
agrees
agree,
with
then
me,
it's
then-
probably okay.
then it's okay.
Yeah, he's going to do well for you. He's definitely, if you had Forsett, you obviously know to pick him up.
Is Forsett going to end up with someone else?
I could see him ending up on another team that needs help, possibly by injury. maybe I could have seen him going back to the Seahawks before they picked up C.J. Spiller.
So is he worth a keep if you have Forsett on your
I
fantasy?
don't see him worth a keep. You got to see where he lands first, and you can always pick him back up because there's going to be, unless you're in a really deep league and there's no one viable to pick up off of waivers, then yeah, why not just leave him there for a minute?
If you have a deep bench too,
Yeah.
maybe just tuck him away just in case.
Just see where it goes from there. But I personally, if he's in my league, I drop him. I drop him without picking anybody
I
up.
never would have even drafted him to be.
I don't have him and wouldn't have him either. So
And I like Forsett because he used to be a Seahawk.
I like him. He's got good
Nice.
personality. He's actually trying to sell himself on Twitter. I believe he said, anybody looking for a
Is
slightly.
that legal?
I think so. not in that means, but says anybody looking for a slightly older running back
Oh,
with
poor Forsett.
incredible looks or something like that.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah,
But he'll find a home. With running back injuries,
exactly.
he'll find a home.
I see the Ravens actually winning this game. The Redskins haven't really sold me on anything. Kirk Cousins is up and down. He's putting up good numbers for a
Kirk
fantasy
Cousins,
standpoint.
man, you should have picked him high in your draft because that is the way to go to win a league, right?
Yeah, right.
Our former champion of our league thinks so.
Yeah, he's actually doing pretty well overall
He's
as far
doing
as his
better than
numbers go.
me.
Yeah, he's beating you. I served him up a nice whooping the week before. But yeah, Kirk Cousins is one of those guys that's going to get you big numbers on big days and then not do anything for you the next day. He's viable to get 400 yards and 4 touchdowns
He's
any
actually
week.
been pretty good. I have him in one of
Yeah.
my leagues, and he's actually done pretty good. He's kept me afloat, and he's gotten me roughly between 20 to 30 points
Well,
every week. So
that must be in a major quarterback
it's
style
in a
league.
PPR, half a point, so he gets half a point per reception.
Okay, yeah, because Cousins is averaging 16.8
Yeah.
per week.
So in a
he's-
PPR league, if
He's a 10th ranked quarterback, and that's assuming that Aaron Rodgers was on a bye, so he's obviously jumping up into that list too. And Cousins got 17 last week in standard scoring. So, I mean, like I said,
it's good enough though.
he's all right. I personally, I feel the same way a lot of people do, and don't pick a quarterback until late. I have subpar quarterbacks, and I still win.
I mean, you also have Cam Newton and Russell Wilson in one of our leagues.
That's because it's a quarterback heavy league, and
And
it's a double quarterback starting
In
league.
that same league, I have Andrew Luck and Kirk Cousins, and I picked them late, and I'm
Yeah.
beating you in that league.
Yeah, well, only time will tell how it
Did you hear
actually
that?
works
I'm
out.
beating him in that league.
We all know that Cam Newton was out and maybe out this week, and Wilson got hurt.
All I hear is
and
excuses.
blah blah
I don't
blah.
know. That's all I hear.
I'll make
But
excuses till the cows
I
come
waited
home.
till later and got my quarterbacks and stacked up on wide receivers.
Uh huh.
I'm doing pretty
Uh
good.
huh. Cam Newton has a
Pretty good.
concussion right now. I got 4 quarterbacks
Good
on my team
crybaby.
right now, just because we got one on a
Sucks.
bye. And
And I also have Matt Ryan on my bench. Look at those 3 quarterbacks. And that's
why is he on your
pretty
bench?
solid.
Oh, that's right. If she starts him, everybody don't put him in. He's
Right.
gonna
Well,
fail that
I
week.
benched him this week and started him the week before, and I lost because I started him and didn't start Kirk Cousins.
See,
Lost
there you go.
simply because of that. So I switched it up this
Everything
week.
she does, opposite.
But I still won this week.
Opposites.
But you're right, exactly. I mean, yeah, that's a good philosophy to keep. So, Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah,
You like him?
Jackson's pretty good. He's gonna if they're gonna be a good receiver out of the bunch, it's Jordan Reed or Jackson.
Jordan Reed's a solid tight end.
Jordan Reed's a
And,
starter. If you got him, you start him. That's all there is to it. I love Jordan Reed this season. He's going to be good all season long, and Cousins likes throwing him the ball, so
Who doesn't? I mean, he's
a big
he's a
target with
beast.
good hands, and yeah, he's gonna get points.
I also like Matt Jones a lot. I've been pretty high on him, and his touches have consistently gone up as the season has gone on.
Jones has definitely been improving. I've had him on my bench for in a couple leagues, and now I'm actually starting him this week. Well, mainly because there's buys, but his touches have been going up. He's averaging a higher amount of yards. I think he's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 70 yards a game. But his touches increased, I think, 10 touches more this week than he did last week, which, if that's the case, if he's getting the ball, he's going to get production. He's a good running back, so he's going to...
He's their workhorse. So.
Yeah, he's an every down back, and I see him being one of those guys you can count on going down the stretch.
Yeah, and I don't think this game's going to get too far out of the way where they're going to have to go away from the run. So I think Matt Jones is a good start. I think Kirk Cousins, if you need a quarterback, I think you don't have to worry too much. I think it'll be a solid start. But Joe Flacco, though, I mean, the Ravens, everyone's high up on the Ravens offense, but no one talks about Joe Flacco.
Flacco's a scary quarterback to own. Again, he's like a Stafford. He's got a big arm.
Like
but
gunslinger.
He's got good intentions, but that doesn't go very far in fantasy football. So I actually see him, being 10 to 15th ranked quarterback throughout the season. He's going to have some big
That's
games.
pretty high up there, though.
He's going to have some big games. I mean, he's got some good weapons on his team, and like you said, he's a gunslinger. He's going to throw the ball down the field.
Mike Wallace. That guy's pretty fast.
Mike Wallace
he's
is
good at running up and down the field. That's about it.
Yes, he can run that sideline better than almost anybody in the league. So if you want to start, if you have any of the Ravens on your team, I'm going to go ahead and say running back, obviously position we talked about, but you're gonna be looking at. I wouldn't start Flacco unless I didn't have any other viable options.
Yeah, I would stay away from him.
And then Mike Wallace is a guy he's a touchdown based guy. If he gets a touchdown or two, which he's done before this season, he's gonna get you big points. But I think he's 8th ranked overall in all of receivers, just because he's got a lot of touchdowns so far.
And they're deep touchdowns. I mean, it's like a Kenny Stills kind of thing.
That's why the guy is.
Bomb down the field.
If you don't have somebody, you plug him in and he can score you points.
Desperate times call for desperate.
Or he'll score
measures.
you nothing.
Yeah, that's it. It's a hit or miss.
So.
All right. Well, who do you think's gonna win that game though? Real quick, who do you got?
I think the Ravens will win.
Ravens.
Yeah.
I'm in a Pick'em's league. I can't remember who I picked. I think I left that one open.
The skins are decent, but I think the Ravens are going to win. They're going to control the ball longer, and I think they're at home too. So I see the Ravens taking it.
All right, so Broncos and Falcons. That's going to be a good game. I think the Falcons have been the surprise team of the year
Well,
up to this point.
the Falcons and Broncos, I'd say the Eagles, but the Falcons have been offensively amazing. Against now a huge defensive challenge for them. It's going to be one of those classic battles, great offense versus great defense. And then you ask yourself, like, if the Broncos get behind, are they going to be able to come back? And it's pretty hard to even say that because
do we even know who's starting for the Broncos?
we don't know who's starting right now.
Does it really
I think
matter,
Simeon
though?
is probably the starter for the Broncos, but
More than likely, if you have a quarterback, you don't have the Broncos quarterback.
yeah, if you do have the Broncos quarterback, you're in like a 5 quarterback league. No, I'm just kidding.
Does this exist? Oh my god!
Anything can exist. But he's just not a viable option. You don't put him in. If you have him for a reason, and then go ahead and start him. But I mean, I personally would stay away from the Broncos quarterbacks. The situation is scary, and then bringing that up, you got some great receivers on the team. What do we do with them? I mean, you got Demaryius Thomas and you got Emmanuel Sanders. Like, these guys are huge number monsters, but if they don't have someone to throw them the ball, they're kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, and I mean, I think really the only. I mean, if you have Demaryius Thomas, you're starting him. That's it. You're going to start him because it's Demaryius Thomas. I feel. And then if you have C.J. Anderson, you're starting him. But other than that, in the Broncos defense, I mean, that's all I'd really stick with the Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos, like, tight end position's not really very good, but I'd probably start Emmanuel Sanders over Demaryius Thomas. He's been getting more targets, which for me that means that his production can go higher. I think that Demaryius Thomas is a better receiver, and when he gets the ball, he's probably going to be able to do more with it, and it's going to be bigger plays. But overall, Emmanuel Sanders is probably going to be the guy.
Yeah, that's a tough
C.J.
call.
Anderson, obviously, we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah,
Workhorse.
I would go to
Bad
Demaryius Thomas.
mofo.
So we know the deal. I'd go to Demaryius Thomas. Ray would go Emmanuel Sanders. So who are we starting? Emmanuel Sanders. Okay, we all got that. All right,
perfect.
Okay, so
Moving forward. If you have them both and you don't have any other receivers, start them both.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The Falcons' defense has not been very good, so that's definitely an option for you. It's going to be a tale of two
I think Desmond
teams,
might
basically.
Follow Thomas.
I think that I actually listened on a podcast this morning that said that Desmond Trufant will be following along with Emmanuel Sanders, which
really?
is kind of scary for my prediction. But
So I might be right in this one.
But one big catch from Demaryius, and they're going to switch him sides.
Right. He could. Yeah. He could follow no one and just line up how they want him to line up and see how
just
that
stay
works
on the
out.
left side or
But
the
if you
right
have
side.
Julio, you're obviously starting Julio. I mean, if you didn't start him last week because he pissed you off
No-brainer.
the week before, then you're obviously even more pissed off this week.
If you have Freeman, you're starting Freeman. I mean, basically,
Coleman, and did you hear about Coleman? He might not even play. So if you have Freeman,
If you
you're
have Freeman-
absolutely starting Freeman.
that's a no-brainer. You drafted that guy in the first 2 rounds
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
it's kind of been a split carry. I mean,
Yeah.
he's been doing pretty good though, and he looked really awesome. But Tevin Coleman is just announced he has sickle cell, and he might not even play now because of the altitude.
Yeah, they said they might play, but he had to go seek treatment, I think, tomorrow to find out whether he's actually going to be able to play. So
I think it's up to him. It's like because
Yeah.
they don't know if it'll affect him or not until he plays. And
I think
then
so, too.
sees. So I don't think Coleman's going to play. It's a small percentage that it would actually even really affect him health-wise, but I don't think – and if Coleman's not playing, then you're absolutely starting Freeman. I mean, you're starting him either way. But
Yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter is that if the Falcons play like they have against the Broncos defense too, they're going to get ahead by a lot, and then you're going to be running the ball the rest of the time. And Freeman is a workhorse.
And he's looked like a monster out there the last couple
He's
weeks.
probably my second or third favorite running back in the league at this point,
And then
even
Matt,
sharing some carries.
and Matt Ryan, I think he's even against the Broncos defense, you're still starting him.
Matty Ice is back. I mean, he took a year off, but he's back.
I think he's
mean,
on my bench this week, so that means you should absolutely start him.
I'm rocking some Matty Ice in a couple of leagues
Are the Broncos going to win?
too. This is one of the tougher games to call
It's a
overall.
home game.
Mile High is tough to play in. McManus field goal wins the game. That's it. I think it's going to be pretty high scoring though. I think the Broncos are going to have to take the leashes off and let them actually throw the ball.
Yeah, I don't know though, because
If they can control it though with CJ, then you never know how the game could go.
that's going to be a good game. That's definitely going to be.
It's going to be a fun game to watch.
So
I hope the
Bengals-
Broncos lose though, but I don't think they will.
Well,
It's
I
a close.
hope
It
the-
should be a good game.
I hope the Falcons lose because they're in our conference. So
I just don't like the Broncos.
yeah, I just think of it from my perspective that
Well,
way.
if you think about it from that perspective, if the Falcons win, do you think they'd be on a high horse and less likely to take our Seahawks
right.
serious next week?
Yeah, that's right.
Or do you think if they lose, they come back and train harder and come back to beat us?
Either way, I think they're going to lose against us.
I think they're going to
so-
lose against the Seahawks. But that's
doesn't
that's
really
getting into
matter,
next week. We'll get to
so.
that next week.
Yeah. So okay. So Bengals and Cowboys.
Should be a pretty good game.
Cowboys have been playing better than people thought they would.
Yeah, Bengals and Cowboys should be a pretty good game. There should be some players that stand out a little bit, mainly running game. I see Ezekiel Elliott doing well.
Continuing
to
down the same
do
road
well.
He has.
He's been doing well all season. Quarterback play, Prescott, 16.5 points on average so far this season, which
Pretty
isn't
good,
bad.
Yeah.
I have him on the bench in a couple leagues, so he's kind of my switch back and forth. So,
Rookie quarterback. Who would you start? Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz.
Wentz, absolutely. Just this week because of the matchup, but overall, I think Dak could definitely be the starting quarterback.
Okay, so Des Bryant, is he playing?
I don't think so. I think he's out still. But I've heard rumors that he might be playing. I don't know for sure. I have to check RotoWire. And again, our internet is so great
so we
here
don't know.
right now.
Breaking news: we have shitty internet here, so we can't tell you if Des Bryant is playing or not. That's how great our podcast is.
Yeah, we have to check it beforehand and then
Yeah.
hope it's still the same.
And then, so Ezekiel Elliott, obvious start. Dak Prescott, if you need a quarterback to fill in, is a great fill-in. Terrence Williams, Cole Beasley. I mean, if you have to choose between the two.
Beasley probably between the two. He's been getting a lot of targets lately, and
PPR league, I think
he's been
definitely.
receiving quite a few balls. I like Jason Witten in this matchup too. You got to have a tight end receiving the ball. Again, I think that with any young quarterback, they usually throw the ball to running backs and tight ends a lot more.
Yeah,
So.
just get the ball out quick.
Yeah.
So Bengals, obviously AJ Green. I mean, that's
Bengals, AJ Green all day long. You got Jeremy Hill and Giovanni on the other side. One of them's going to be really good. One of them's not. So we'll find out who it is this week. Probably, if
Giovanni
I had to guess,
in a PPR league because he's more of the pass catching.
yeah,
running back.
he's going to receive a lot more balls. It's going to depend on where the score's at for the game to find out where you're actually going to be at for.
We already
who's
have
gonna
a
be better.
following. Do you see all these
Yeah.
fans? We have fans lining up.
We have tons of fans outside.
To get a glimpse of us in
Yes,
here, guys.
it's important.
So
It's
if
important.
you need to get on this podcast and listen to it now because
That's right.
I'm telling you, man, we are blowing up already, and this is just only our first podcast.
We haven't even finished it
We
yet.
haven't even aired it yet. We already have fans. This is great.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, the as far as like Jeremy Hill could do really well, but like you said, PPR Bernard's going to be the guy if you're a PPR league. But if you're not in a PPR league and you need a flex or RB3, then Jeremy Hill's going to be your guy. He's a good running back, and until they can figure out what the heck they're doing on those teams, you're going to not know who to start out of those guys.
And then if you had to do Andy Dalton or Dak Prescott, who do you do?
It's tough. I think they're both going to be about equal. I wouldn't see either one of them going above or the other, unless you have a monster game from AJ.
I think you go with Andy Dalton. I think he's proven that you go with him.
I actually would say Dak, only because
Because I
think
said
that
Andy Dalton.
well, that too. That definitely weighs into my decision. But no, I think Dak has another element to his game that he really hasn't been able to show yet. And if he starts running the ball more, he can get a a touchdown on his feet as opposed to passing it. I think Dak has a lot more potential. He's a higher ceiling than Andy Dalton.
What do they call him? The Red Rocket?
The Red Rocket.
Is that the correct
That's
term?
what they call
I feel
Andy
like
Dalton.
That's a
Yeah.
very.
Go Red Rocket, go Red Rocket,
I
go.
don't know if I really like that.
Oh,
But yeah.
South Park reference. It's horrible.
Yeah, I feel like we're wrong on that. And again, if we could check the internet, we would. But it's Red something.
It's definitely the Red Rocket.
Okay, well that's terrible. We should come up with
It's
a
pretty
new
bad.
Name for
It's
him.
his name. It's not ours. So
Right. Oh, wow.
apparently he's okay with it because
I
people call
like
him it all the time.
I like Andy Dalton. Ray likes Dak Prescott.
Yeah, we'll write it
Put
on
it on
the
the
board.
board.
We'll write it on the board.
I totally just stole that from Fantasy Football Focus.
Yeah, it's okay.
I
We
love
stole a
it.
lot of stuff. It's fine.
Mean, yeah.
It's fine.
Okay, so
They can handle whatever.
who do you have winning though? Real quick, who do you win? Bengals, Cowboys.
That's
who
a
do you
tough
take?
one. I'm gonna go Bengals.
Bengals. I agree.
I have no real notion exactly why. I just think that the Bengals are gonna win. That's crazy right now.
Paparazzi
The
is going
paparazzi's,
crazy out there. I know, right? Jeez, that's going to cost
crazy.
you some money.
Yeah,
If you want my autograph later, wait till after the show. I'd be happy to sign some autographs
That's
for
right.
all of our
That's
fans
right.
waiting out there.
and again, whatever she picks, do the opposite.
So, but unless I pick the same as Ray, then
And then
we're
go
okay.
ahead.
And I've said the
then
Bengals are
then
going to win.
either maybe
so.
I'm wrong or go ahead and follow it.
And again, it doesn't really matter who wins or loses for fantasy, but we're just throwing that in there.
That's right.
Just to get our knowledge in there. So Chargers and Raiders. I like the Raiders this season. I really do. They've been up and coming for a couple years. They got a lot of young talent. But I hate that Michael Crabtree is taking all of Amari Cooper's snaps.
I actually don't mind.
We just lost our audio. Or did it the headphones? Can you hear?
I can't hear
I
anything.
can't hear. I think
I would assume.
we're back.
Oh, and we're
Right,
back. That was
okay.
great. Little break, impromptu
That's all
break.
right. Our producers are back there, working for free, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
we're gonna bring them peanuts because they should get peanuts at least.
Our
out of
coffee.
this deal.
Hey, that's what we got paid for the Rainiers,
Yeah,
right?
coffee and peanuts.
coffee
Yeah, it's
and
perfect.
Popcorn.
It's an
so-
internship.
It's an internship.
Enjoy. We'll sign your paperwork for you. You just got to pay $700 for credits.
You can put this. We'll put it as a great reference. Yes, they were our producer. For...
That's right. That's right. We'll give you credits in the credits.
Okay, so Chargers Raiders. Like I said, I like the Raiders. I'm just pissed that Crabtree's taking all of Amari Cooper's snaps. I mean, Crabtree's just been beasting it out.
This matchup is interesting for me from a fantasy perspective because I have a lot of players on both teams. And I was deciding I don't like to play both players on both teams unless they're both the starting running back because then that's always a good play. But I have Derek Carr or I have Phillip Rivers. And then I have Michael Crabtree and Amari Cooper on one league. And I also have Iman. Is that his name? Iman for the...
I think that you take Phillip Rivers over Derek Carr.
See, I did the matchup and I kind of crunched the numbers myself and I looked at like the defenses and the matchups and who's going to be guarding who. And I ended up with, out of all those players, I ended up starting Derek Carr and Michael Crabtree.
Last week?
No, going into this week.
This week, okay. I say last week that would have been great.
Last week it would have been great.
It would have been great.
It would have been the play to do. And, Derek Carr and Phillip Rivers, I like them both because they got good receiver. Well, Derek Carr more so. Rivers since,
Travis
Allen
Benjamin.
went down.
I mean, is that their lead receiver right now, Travis Benjamin?
It's a depends on the week. Every week can be different.
Wide
but
receiver by committee.
it is pretty much wide receiver, aren't they all? But this one is more so than most. So they got Antonio Gates in there. So Gates is a touchdown
not playing,
monster.
though.
I think he's playing this week.
Is he back?
He's questionable, but I think he's going to be playing this week.
Or Hunter Henry. Even with
Yeah.
and Gates out, Hunter Henry's been a viable option for tight end. I mean, he has a lot of upside. I think
absolutely.
the upside is there.
Absolutely, and I think that for me, the decision came down to which team has the best defense, and neither one of them really have a good defense. But if I had to
It's gonna be
pick
a
one,
shootout.
I'd pick the Raiders' defense over the two.
Yeah, I agree.
And then you're looking at the Raiders against the San Diego. I think it's going to be a shootout too, and that's why I went with Derek Carr and Michael Crabtree because, like you said, Crabtree's getting a lot more targets than Cooper right now, and I can sit. Yeah, We could do something like that.
Q&A. Can we have it? Sorry, our fans are. Can we have a fan Q&A? Oh, I can read. I can read. I go to Gates. Yay! I
Yeah.
can read.
Oh, don't worry, you'll get English next quarter. I know you've been speaking it for a while, but now you'll actually be able to like learn about it.
Can we have a
It'll-
fan?
it'll be
Our
fun.
fans want to know if we can have a fan Q&A. Do they
Sounds
want,
interesting.
I think that's a.
I think that's a viable option, but we
Yeah.
should probably wait till we get through the rest of these
Yeah, we
games.
gotta.
We got like
gotta,
3 more
we
games.
got 3 more games to get through.
Three more games, and then we
we'll
can-
tackle that.
We can get in there,
Yeah. So.
and we'll sign autographs later. Don't worry.
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll get you guys. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Great. Okay. So
Melvin Gordon's going to be a big deal in this game. I think.
I think he's been a.
He's been a big deal all season.
Yeah.
He was a guy I targeted, but I targeted him too late in a lot of leagues because I thought he'd fall further than he did. He's the number 2 running back in all of fantasy sports right now.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
But he only has 3.15 yards per carry. It's all dependent on the touchdowns, folks. 6 TDs.
And that's
that's a scary thing to be.
That's how it's been for Latavius Murray. I unfortunately targeted him in quite a few leagues because I waited this year. I used the theory of waiting later on running backs and stacking up on wide receivers. And Latavius Murray has been crap. And you haven't really noticed the first 3 weeks because he got touchdowns.
Yeah, he's averaging like 10 yards per game.
And his touches have gone down every week. So I can't remember off the top of my head who that. It's like they got 2 other running backs.
I guess when you look at the matchup between the two, you say wide receiver, you say passing game is going to be all Oakland or LA. Sorry, weird.
Chargers, not LA. LA's Rams.
Oh,
San Diego.
San Diego.
So many freaking California teams.
Just
We can't even
ridiculous.
keep through.
No, all your passing game is actually no. I'm talking the Raiders. It's going to be
Oh.
the Raiders' offense on passing that's going to light it up, and then you're going to be looking at the running game on San Diego's side that's going to light it up. I don't really see Murray doing much either, at all.
Yeah, I
I'm-
think honestly, I think last week he got 11 touches.
I think that
11 touches. That's terrible.
I targeted Murray last year for the same reason that he was supposed to be a running back that you could get late. That would be a workhorse. And guess what? This guy has not really done it. He's not really doing it
No.
for anybody.
And they got a
You've been
couple
lucky to get your 10
touch-
yard or 10
well,
points fantasy points
because of
per week.
touchdowns. Because he had a touchdown
Exactly.
in each game, and that's what saved it. And once he doesn't get that, you look at the touches he's getting, the yards per carry, and it's just bad. So if you can stay away from Murray, stay away from him. I'm trying to in all my leagues.
Yep.
And I'm not having very much luck because like my other running backs like Artis Payne
And that's
and
one of the things that scares me about Gordon. I think Gordon could almost be a sell high candidate too. If you could trade a Gordon for like a Johnson or a C.J. Anderson or something like that, I think that would be a good trade at this point because he's put up some good numbers. But again, it's been all touchdown bases.
I do not see someone trading a Gordon for an Anderson. I don't see that happening.
I think it could happen just based on numbers. Like if you look at the numbers of C.J. Anderson's only averaging 13 yards or 13 fantasy points per game, where Gordon's averaging 16. A lot of people are just numbers based. They just number crunch. They don't actually see the like actual games or know what the
Yeah.
heck's really going on.
Or if you are pretty good on running backs and you're hurting on wide receiver, go look at for someone who's desperate for a running back and sell high with them that
Exactly,
way and pick up
exactly.
a good wide receiver.
You can always get rid of guys that you don't like that are producing high numbers at the time because people are looking for people all the time. And you got to shop the other people's teams and kind of settle for what they have available. If they're strong in wide receiver, you need wide receiver. You got extra running backs, trade a
Gotta
running
look
back.
at their need.
Exactly.
All right.
I like to do
so-
package deals.
Yeah, that's kind of rough. That's hard too because if you try to trade one player for 2 players or something or vice versa, then you got to make sure that person's willing to drop someone else from their bench or drop someone from your bench to make room for that extra player. So.
I usually will do it to where I trade like a main player off a starting lineup, or I'll even just put them in my starting lineup to make it look like they're in my starting lineup. If I haven't played them, they don't know. And then I'll take somebody that's on my bench that's producing okay
Smart
numbers.
thinker over here.
And then what I'll do is I'll trade them for the player that I want and then their worst possible player because I'm just going to drop that player anyway. I already probably have intentions of who I'm going to pick up off of the waiver wires or off of a free agency before I make the trade.
Now I will be not making any trades with him at all in any leagues that I'm in. Not that he would want any of my players, because I knew that's what you were going to say
I
next, so I
don't.
beat you to it.
Well, good job. You beat me to something. Wow.
Yay, I'm a winner!
Not in fantasy.
And okay, so Chargers, Raiders, yes, okay. Hard call. I go Phillip Rivers. You go Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
So Derek Carr.
Probably a good idea.
And yeah.
Carr's been doing really well this season,
And
and I
we
think he's
like-
going to maintain that.
And we like Oakland Raider wide receivers versus the Chargers wide receivers.
Just kind of hard facts on it. Carr is the 4th ranked quarterback in the league. He's coming off 23 points last week, 20.3 on average per. And then you got Phillip Rivers, 17.3, but he had 20 last week. I think they're both viable. Like, if you have either one of them, why not start either one of them?
And it's not going to hurt you
No.
either way. It'll
Both
be pretty
defenses
close.
are not the best, so.
They like to throw the ball.
And they do like to throw the ball.
Okay, so Bills and Rams. I think this will be a rather interesting game. I never really like a team that has to travel all the way across the country to
Mhm.
play, so that kind of puts the Bills at a disadvantage, I feel like. And the Rams, I hate the fucking Rams.
I'm not big on the Rams
I
either.
hate the Rams.
They play us very well every time.
And they've been playing really good. They had that one game against the Niners, and they looked like garbage, and they've just been running out the gate ever since then. So makes our loss to them look a little bit better, I think.
True.
So thank you for that, because
True.
we were the laughing stock of the NFL for a week there.
I
But-
think with that being said, I think that the Bills are kind of the same way right
Yeah.
now. They just beat New England.
Yeah, they shut them out.
They destroyed New England, which no one in this world saw coming
in
New England. I mean, that's only like 10 miles from where they're at.
but still.
It's still an amazing feat. Shady McCoy's running the ball well. Tyrod Taylor's doing what he needs to do, which is just not cause major turnovers and bad plays.
And I think if, again, this is coming from me and my own advice, so, take it with a grain of salt. But Sammy Watkins has been placed on IR, so he's out.
Yes.
So Robert Woods, if he's out there, pick him up.
Robert Woods.
I mean, put him on your bench if you have to, but he's a solid pickup.
Yeah, he's a big-bodied receiver. He did good last week. I could see him actually continuing that process, and he's going to be the guy there. So, I mean, if you want an RB1 or a WR1 that you can get off of waivers, off of a bench right now, you can pick this guy up in almost every league.
I did. I picked him up.
Yeah, I mean, he's a wide receiver 1 for their team. Now, as far as how he'll work out for your team, if you have a sorry team, then maybe he'll be a wide receiver 2. But otherwise, he's a wide receiver 3 flex start for you.
So also on the flip side of that,
For Michelle, he's a WR1.
He is absolutely, I think, probably in our league and I also in that same league, I had to pick up Brian Quick. Picked him up. He looked great last week. He's kind of a hit or miss though, but
Quick is finally doing what he's supposed to be doing. He came into this league. They brought him in as their big play receiver. They wanted to be able to throw the ball down the field to this guy and him make big receptions like a Brandon Marshall or something like that. We've seen glimpses of this in the past. A couple seasons ago, he was touted as one of the, I think, top 15, top 20 wide receivers coming into the season. People were drafting him at that point, and then he just faltered. He didn't do anything. But now he's actually stepping up and doing what he's supposed to do. I think it's a good pickup. I think that
it's a great pickup because I picked him up.
I think it's a good pickup. Not great.
Great.
Because again, even if you pick these guys up, if you don't have room to start them, I mean, you can use them through your bye weeks, but they're not going to be players that you're going to be able to plug in and start in your league right away.
I had to.
Unless you need them, which I mean, if you did
Both
have
of
a
them.
Sammy Watkins and he's out for the season, then that's a good person to pick up. He's basically his backup. Now Watkins is a lot more explosive player, but we'll see where it goes.
And then I think that Todd Gurley is what? What is Todd Gurley to you?
Todd Gurley is a overrated player. He's a Trent Richardson from years back.
Really? You're saying that for the rest of his career he's going to be like that? Are you saying that?
I'm saying like right now, second year bust as far as like overall fantasy output. Not to say that they couldn't get something going for him. I mean, they got a pretty good team in a lot of aspects. Gurley should already be doing this. They said, "Oh, don't worry, Gurley will start wearing down these teams and start getting points in the third and fourth quarter." It hasn't happened, and I didn't watch him in college, so I don't know the guy's like actual talent level. I just know that he's really hyped.
They said he was going to be like the next Adrian Peterson coming out of college.
And that apparently is not true. There are other people that look more like Adrian Peterson, and it definitely isn't Gurley. Gurley, to me, coming into the season was way overrated.
If you have him on your squad, chances are you picked him as your
first round pick. Absolutely.
1, 2, or 3. He went.
Yeah,
I think pick 3.
I think he was going as late as like 5 or 6. His average draft pick position was like 2.6, which that means that people were picking him in the top 5 picks. And if he came out and did what they anticipated, he would be good. I personally went with like David Johnson in my first round because, well, he was getting better through the end of the season, and I figured he'd continue that same path. Where Gurley was, getting better, but the team was doing bad. So like,
So say Gurley has a great week this week. Is he a sell high? Is he has a great
absolutely
week? Find someone to take him and get rid of him as soon as
package
you can.
Gurley up and send him elsewhere. That's what I would do. I mean, I'm worried for anybody that has him, that has an Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck is a scary player to have too. These guys are good players that people know the name of and they want them.
But value wise, Gurley
So-
is a bust because you picked him so high.
He's
not produced.
he's definitely a bust for where he was drafted. I think he's probably the biggest bust of the whole season so far. I don't really see
Because on the
anybody.
flip side, if you have LaShawn McCoy, you got him late. I mean, people weren't taking him
Yeah.
early. So
McCoy's destroying him.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as numbers go. I mean, DeMarco Murray, I picked him up 45th overall in our league, and he's killing it.
yeah, I think people. I think it comes back to that you get burnt once by someone and you're scared to go there. And Murray burnt a lot of people last
So
year.
I've owned Murray every other year, and it's worked out just fine for
It's
me.
just like the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, it's an even year, so we're gonna
So
go
he's
with
gonna be
Murray.
great. All right. So what about Kenny Britt? Is he worth adding at all?
I like Britt as a kind of a fill-in for bye week. I mean, if you need somebody and you don't have any, I don't put him on my bench or in my starting lineup personally.
Okay. So who do you got in that game?
That's a tough one. Bills. I want the Bills to win.
I want the Bills.
I want the
win.
Bills to win. I think they're coming up, actually. The Bills were supposed to come into the season really good, and I think that they're going to come in, and I think that they can beat the Rams. The Rams are only step up for certain games. It's usually against NFC West opponents, mainly the Seahawks.
I think that I want the Bills to win, but I'm thinking the Rams are going to win just because the Bills are traveling across country.
It's that
And-
great quarterback
and
play on
LA
the
is
Rams
so
side.
excited to have a team. The home field advantage is just huge for the Rams this year. So I have the Rams winning. As much as I don't want them to, I think they are.
Bills travel pretty well as far as the fan base goes, and there's a lot of seats in that stadium, and the Rams fans can't fill them all.
A lot
So
of seats.
I think that the Coliseum, there's going to be, I would say, about 15 to 20% Bills fans there. So I think the Bills have a chance.
All right, go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Rex Ryan. We all love to hear Rex Ryan's press conferences.
Oh, yeah,
He's
they're
great.
exciting. They're
He is.
entertaining, at least, that's for sure.
Okay, so we got to the last two games. We have our Sunday night game and our Monday night game. Sunday night is Giants versus Packers.
Divisional game should be good. Packers are coming off of a bye, which is a big thing. They got so many weapons, man.
Yeah, if you
It's
have anyone from
scary.
the Packers, you're probably
Play them,
starting them.
start them.
Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, Eddie Lacy.
Every one of them. Obviously, Aaron
Rodgers.
Rodgers.
I mean, you're starting them.
I think Eddie Lacy's on the upward slide right now. He's getting more carries and he's running for more yards. He looks like Eddie Lacy of old, more so than fat Eddie Lacy of last year. Coming into this
Slimmed
year,
down
I wasn't
year.
I wasn't really big on him.
And
I do have him in a couple leagues because I've been able to get him at a good value. And I think that Eddie Lacy his points are increasing, and I think that that's a big deal for him. And he's gonna do well for the overall season.
Yeah, I like Eddie Lacy. I think he's gonna.
If you can buy that guy low, I would recommend it because his first 2 weeks weren't very good. So coming in, he only had 1 week there he did pretty well, and I think he's on an upward slide. So if you can pick up Eddie Lacy, might be a good idea.
Todd
It's probably
Gurley, Eddie Lacy.
oh god, Eddie Lacy.
Yeah. Wow.
It's hard to say because I think they're going to have very similar numbers overall. And Gurley has a bigger ceiling, no doubt about it, but he just hasn't proven anything to me.
Yeah, that's a hard one, but
Last season he did pretty well, but remember, was it Zach? Zach from the Rams last year or the year before, Zach Stacy.
yeah.
Yeah, wow, what an
Oh,
what an ending to a season, and then what a sorry second year.
Yeah, where'd he go?
Yeah, he's not playing in the NFL
He's
right
selling
now.
cars right now.
Probably selling cars.
You can come be a guest on our podcast.
Yeah,
Stacey.
come on in, Zach. We'll make room for you.
Make you relevant again.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so any Giants? You all know how I feel about Odell right now. I hate him. I am one of those panicked owners. I am like, I want to sell him for anyone that will take him. Give me anyone. I want rid of this guy.
What about the running game?
What is that? Darkwa? Is that?
You
that
got
their,
me.
Is
You
that
got
their
me.
starting running back right now?
The-
Rashard Jennings is still questionable.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think you should stay away from it either way,
I
as
think-
much as you can.
I think the Giants' running game is something you should have stayed away from the beginning of the season going forward.
And that's why I drafted Rashad Jennings in a lot of my
It's
leagues.
exactly why she drafted him, because it's been like this for years. The Giants' running game, with the exception of, I think it was like 4 years ago that Rashad Jennings was a top 10 running back in
And
the
that
league.
was when he was with Oakland.
No, he was with the Giants when he said,
Really?
yeah, he was awesome. I had him in a couple leagues and he was great.
Yeah, I think he has a talent. He just can't stay healthy. I don't know.
That, and I just don't think he gets the opportunities. I think that their play calling and the way that they do things down there is just a little bit different than a lot of teams. But as far as Odell Beckham goes, I'm buying that guy low. So if you want to trade him to me, I'd be happy to trade him. Just the price has to be
Yeah,
right.
you're not in the league that I own him in.
Oh, it's
so
too
that's-
bad.
Can we cross trade different leagues?
Anyway,
Can we-
Odell Beckham is, I mean, he's still doing well.
no,
he's
doing terrible.
he's
right
not
now.
doing.
He's a crybaby for that matter. I'm tired. I'm not having fun playing football anymore.
He's
then go do something else.
He's a unique player, but he's still 5th ranked in the league. And if you just get upset about a player, it might not be the player, it might be your team. You might need to switch
that
him
was
away
a
for
shot
somebody
at
else.
me. I
Shot
think
off the
that
bow.
was- I'm trying
Um,
to trade him for Jordy Nelson. That's who I sent to trade out Odell for Jordy.
Well, according to Roto World, that's a good trade for, I guess, both of you guys. Because if you want Jordy Nelson, he's ranked lower than Odell Beckham. I think Odell
like the
Beckham.
upside.
I love Jordy Nelson this year
When
too.
Aaron
I
Rodgers
just
started
couldn't
going.
draft him in the spot he was going. I think that overall it's going to be, if you get either one of those guys, you're going to have the same numbers. But Odell Beckham, mark my words, is going to have some ridiculous games.
I don't know. I could see him getting benched because he's such a crybaby just to try to teach him a lesson. I could see that because he's not doing that much right now.
Tom Coughlin's so old he doesn't even know what's going on,
Tom Coughlin is so old. He's sitting on his couch not coaching the Giants right now.
isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh wow, who's coaching them?
Oh God, what is his name? I'm sorry. I was just so shocked that you still thought Coughlin was the coach that I can't remember.
No, that's right.
The-
That became Pete Carroll became the oldest coach because Coughlin
Yeah.
retired. That's right.
It was their offensive coordinator that they gave the coaching job to, and right now I can't remember what his name is. So,
Well, he should be still throwing the ball deep, and
and he,
I thought that was one of the funniest videos I'd seen ever was when Beckham hit the freaking
And it hit-
kicker's thing and it came right back
Yes.
and hit him in the face. It was so
yes.
funny.
Oh my God.
I laughed so hard.
I think that Odell has a talent. Obviously, I think he just needs to learn how to control his emotions, and he's telling every single defensive player out in the league, you can get to me, you can take me out of a game by messing with me mentally, and they're doing it, and they're winning the battle that way.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, I don't know if you saw this, but Des Bryant came to his defense to say, like,
Des Bryant.
Des Bryant, because he's a very
The other
emotional
biggest
player too.
crybaby in
That's
the
why
league.
he came to his defense, and he said, man, you're great. Just keep playing. Like, people are gonna get on your nerves, but you just got to keep playing. And
Yeah,
it was just funny because Des is the
Yes.
crybaby of crybabies,
But now Odell's taking over that role. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Odell's a very soft-skinned individual. It seems.
I think that Victor Cruz is the highest scoring wide receiver on the Giants so far this season.
I don't know if that's actually true, but
But we don't have anything to check it with, so we're just going to say, yeah, that's true.
so put it on the board. I say ODB or Odell, ODJ or OBJ
Whatever, you
or
know who we're talking about.
we're gonna call him what we call him.
Yeah, whatever we want
The
to
great
at this
one-handed
point.
catch guy.
And he needs to stop making one-handed
Top
catches and
two-
just catch the damn ball.
Top 2 draft picks.
So,
this
I mean,
season.
if you had to pick one wide receiver out of the Giants, you're sticking with Odell
Oh,
or
absolutely.
Victor Cruz and Sterling Shepard?
Absolutely. I actually start Sterling Shepard in quite a few leagues.
It's not a bad start. I mean,
Yeah, he's been doing really well.
been doing really good.
He's been kind of the Victor Cruz guy of this season. But I have Victor Cruz in one of my leagues. I just haven't seen a spot to put him in yet.
He's been doing really good.
When he starts salsa dancing in the end zone, he'll go right into my starting lineup. But before
He's done
that,
it a couple times.
he's gonna chill out right now on the bench.
So what
'Cause he's
about-
touchdown dependent.
Yeah.
So he's not gonna score you enough points unless he gets a touchdown, even
Yeah.
in PPR. Whereas Sterling Shepard in PPR is killing it. He's doing really well.
Yeah, and I was pretty high on him. I'm always kind of iffy to draft a rookie wide receiver at all, but I had my eye on him in a couple leagues. I just never pulled the trigger.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well overall.
Would you start Eli though? I mean, Eli hasn't looked that great.
I don't think I start Eli unless I'm like in dire straits. Like if you got Russell Wilson and you don't have a backup quarterback and Eli's one of the only guys left on the bench, then yeah, why not? But I mean, Eli can put up big numbers as far as passing yards and touchdowns, but he can also just do horrible for you. So it's kind of a catch-22. The Green Bay defense isn't all that great. They're
not all
good.
that horrible though.
They're
either,
good, but
you
they
know.
ain't that great. It's
They're
kind of
better
middle of the
than-
road. But you can find a better matchup than Eli probably on the waiver wire.
I'm sure. I'm sure you can.
Yep.
I don't like Eli. So I think Packers win.
I think Packers win.
Yeah,
I think it's
that's
gonna
it.
be
That's it.
a high scoring game though, to be honest.
Okay, so Monday night game, Bucks versus Panthers. Man, both teams just not looking that great.
It's true.
Cam Newton,
Cam Newton concussion. We
Out?
don't know.
we don't know yet.
He's still questionable, and the scary thing, like I have Newton in one of my leagues, and I should have just picked up his backup because then I could just plug his backup in because it's a Monday night game. It's hard to set your lineup for a Monday night game
Those are always scary.
when you don't know. So do I put Tyrod Taylor in instead of him, and then
I
just
think
hope that he's out because they say that with the concussion protocol that he hasn't been responding well. So that leads me to believe that I'm going to make a decision on Sunday morning to decide whether I'm going with the Bills quarterback or with Cam Newton. And if I still see questionable, I'm going to go with Tyrod because I'd rather take 20 to 30 points that Tyrod Taylor can put up to 0 points if Cam doesn't play.
And that's still even scary. I mean, honestly, I think if Cam, if you know for sure Cam's going to go in, you play Cam over Tyrod just because Tyrod's going up
Absolutely.
against the Rams defense too. And
Absolutely. But
There's
otherwise, I wish I had Carson Wentz and I'd just plug him in and be good with it.
yeah, that's a rough one. So hopefully, if you have Cam, chances are you took him pretty high.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, that's not. I don't have Cam in any of my leagues because I did not take a quarterback as high as he was going ever. I don't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done anything with him either, except we were in a 2-quarterback lead with high scoring for quarterbacks. So I took Cam Newton and Russell Wilson back to back with the swing pick.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Not stupid.
And they're both hurt.
You just wait till I win the league.
Yeah, then we'll have to update you guys on that at the end because that's not how it's going to end up.
Oh, yes, it will.
And then Kelvin Benjamin, is he dependent on Cam Newton or is?
Kelvin Benjamin's a good receiver. I think he can receive the ball from whoever's throwing the ball. But I think that him and Newton have kind of a clicky thing. So I think that with Cam, he's a lot better.
Yeah, and I was also high on Devin Funchess coming into this season, who has done nothing, absolutely nothing.
A lot of people were pretty high on him. I tried to avoid him. I had some other targets that were late round kind of guys that I was looking for. I try to stay away from their team altogether for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking right now, like even running backs, like we don't know if Jonathan Stewart's going to play. He's questionable right
Yeah.
now. But even if he is, like he hasn't done anything all season. They have Fozzie Whitaker and Artis Payne, and it's kind of a running back by committee for both of them. So I think Artis Payne has the more upside if you have to choose between either or. Fozzie Whitaker's more of the receiving running back, but again, stay away from any of all if you can.
Yeah, if you're in a deep league, then the only 2 players to own or 3 players to own on that team is Greg Olson, Benjamin, and
Newton.
Cam. That's the only 3 players, and their defense is suspect this year too, which is something that everybody thought that they were going to be really good. They got rid of Josh Norman. Wonder how they feel about that now.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't think Josh Norman's one of the greatest quarterbacks or cornerbacks, he obviously fit well in that system.
Exactly,
so.
and a lot of times, I mean, they got Kuechly still, but at the same time, a lot of defenses are based on their continuity together when they play as a team. Like if you look at the Broncos defense, they're a very good defense. The Seattle
Seahawks,
defense, Texans defense. These guys, like when they play together, when all the parts are there, they're unstoppable for
Yeah.
the most part. And
Vikings defense, man.
Vikings defense.
A lot of and that defense wasn't drafted a lot. I mean, in some of the leagues I'm in, it was still sitting up there until this last week, and I couldn't believe that. They have allowed I think they're number 1 in points allowed of any defense so far. They've allowed a maximum of 9 points.
Yeah.
Or average of 9 points per game.
They're pretty darn good, that's
Yeah.
for sure. The Vikings D is awesome. I think that going forward they're going to remain that way.
They're scary good.
I think that they have a good enough team to put teams on their heels and make them make mistakes, which is something the Broncos have been known for and Seattle's been known for years.
There's very few defenses where you look and say, okay, I have a receiver going up against this defense. Do I play him? And Denver, Vikings, and Seattle, I think, are the top 3 defenses where you question if you should play a wide receiver against them. But Panthers used to be, and they're not.
I don't
anymore.
play any running back against the Seattle defense. Period. I mean, I don't care who it is.
Yeah, that's a good way to go. So Jameis Winston has looked horrible.
Yeah, Jameis Winston has been horrible.
They're putting too much on him.
Yeah, I think so. it's hard to open up your offense to a young player like that. But Winston, he's got a lot of talent. It's just for some reason he's got like some block that's just not letting him play to his ability. I don't know if it's just because there's a big difference between college and pros. I mean, you look at like Mariota, who came out at the same time. These guys are touted as like future stars of the NFL, and they still may be. I think that they're both really good players, but I think that overall, you're not really going to get what you're expecting fantasy-wise out of these players at this point. So, fantasy football and real football are two different things. And you know, you can win games with only 150 yards passing, but as far as fantasy goes, that's just not going to cut it for you.
Exactly.
That guy's going to the waivers.
Yep, that's why you try to stay away from Broncos quarterback. Obviously, they proved that last year. They had one of the worst quarterback. I mean,
Peyton Manning was awful last year.
He was awful, but they won the Super Bowl.
They won the Super Bowl.
So I think that even with the
Before
running backs,
that, they made it to the Super Bowl, and I think the Seahawks won.
Yeah,
So,
I believe so. It's
Yeah.
pretty lopsided on that one.
Yeah.
I think that even with the Bucks running back, Sims, isn't he hurt? I don't know if he's a for sure go.
Yeah, they
And-
said he's questionable. We don't know what's going to happen with that.
And they've lost Doug Martin.
Doug Martin's out for the
and
season,
so,
right?
Yeah, so I mean, it's Mike Evans.
Mike Evans is great, by the way. If you have Mike Evans, you start him every week. That guy's going to put up points no matter what. He's a DeAndre Hopkins, you know.
And like you said, even if the Bucks lose, they're still throwing the ball a ton. So
Yeah, if they get behind, they're going to throw the ball to this
and
guy.
Mike Evans is going to be the
And
one
Evans
catching it.
is the guy.
And they don't have a tight end really. They cut Safarian Jenkins.
Yeah, another
Got it.
DUI for
Yeah.
that guy. It's unfortunate. Those DUI people.
Man, I know.
It's
They're
crazy.
just garbage. Lock them away. Throw them away forever.
Yeah, throw the key away.
Throw the key away.
Anyway, as far as Mike Evans goes, man, this guy is fantasy gold if you got him on your team.
He's only saying that because he has him. I believe he's good. I don't know about fantasy gold.
He is. For where you drafted him in your draft, I mean, he's a top 5 wide receiver.
For value-wise, yeah. definitely.
Value-wise, if you got him, you did really well for yourself. And he's going to continue to put up numbers like this. This is the DeAndre Hopkins underrated last year type of scenario. He's going to put up big numbers, be a top 10 wide receiver this season, maybe even higher than that.
Yeah, so, I mean, that game, I think quarterbacks, we don't know about Cam. Jameis Winston, you try to stay away from him if you can.
I just flip a coin on this game. I don't know who's going to win. I wouldn't put Jameis Winston in unless you don't have any other options.
I mean, chances are you didn't draft Winston as a starting quarterback, so...
Well, as far as Winston goes, would you take, like, Eli over him or Andy Dalton?
I would take Andy Dalton over Winston.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a hard sell. Like, Andy Dalton's available in a lot of teams' free agencies,
The thing is,
too.
that Winston will throw the ball a lot. You know that, but he's had a tendency to throw a lot of interceptions too. So
He has potential to run the ball as well, which
he's a big guy.
could happen. But I would lean more towards like Dak Prescott for that type of performance.
Absolutely.
You know, because that guy's a really big guy.
Mhm.
He's like a Ben Roethlisberger running the ball.
Yep. I don't know. That's
So.
a tough one. So I think we covered all the games. Yay for us.
Woohoo!
Hopefully you guys got some good advice from either one of us. I don't know. I mean, we're pretty awesome at talking sports, but
Yeah, we have a good time. We also have a TV show that we do. It's called BTC Sportsline. It's on YouTube.
yeah, and we'll be doing an episode of that next week. So we'll
Cool.
have a little fantasy segment with Ray called Stardom Sit-em, where he's going to give us
Not stealing it from Matthew Berry, I
not
swear.
at all.
Everybody's
Nothing.
Stardom Sit-ems.
Everything you hear here
This
is
is
100%
all
original.
100% original. Absolutely.
And if you hear it somewhere else, and they stole it from us.
That's
And
right.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's right.
So check us out. Next week, we'll be back with another fantasy football podcast. And next week, we'll also be doing our BTC Sports Line. So we look forward to having you guys with us again.
Again, thank you to our producers that are out there.
Hopefully they're still
if they're
there.
still
I don't
there. We
even
don't
know
know
if
if they
they're
just
still
pressed
there.
record and left.
I
But
haven't heard from them at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, they could still be there. They could not still be there. We don't know. We don't even know how long we've been in here.
we have no
but-
idea. Hopefully it wasn't too long-winded for you guys. If you guys have any comments, go ahead and leave them for us too,
Yeah,
so we
absolutely.
can kind of sew up the show to make it better and more entertaining for you guys.
And we'll have some Q&A. We heard about that. So
Yeah,
some
we've
Q&A.
been asked for some Q&A stuff. So, and you can like send messages into us too, and we can
Put
answer your questions as well.
Questions in the link below.
We're gonna add a link
we'll
right
be
here.
There. We'll be able to put
Yeah,
it in there.
it's going to be there. And again, we're from, this is being broadcast from Bates Technical College, and we hope you guys had fun.
All right, awesome. Good luck this week in your fantasy games. Peace.